Hello everyone, this is Thomas Anderson from the Chattanooga Public Library. So today we'll be going over how World War I started, nationalist ideologies that were happening during the time, why the war got so big, and the feminist movements that came during and after the war. I find how war affects social changes in history more interesting than the actual study of the battles and generals, so let's just dive into it. So while there are many factors leading to any historical event, the inciting incident of World War I is widely agreed to be the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. He was the heir to Austrian-Hungary Empire. He was assassinated in 1914 in Bosnia, and during that time, Bosnia was part of the Austrian-Hungary Empire. So Gavrilo Princip is the one that assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand. He belonged to the secret society of Serbian nationalists called the Black Hand. During the war, nationalist parties in Eastern Europe began pushing more and more towards exclusionary and discriminatory political agendas, especially against minority populations. Ethnic minority groups were viewed as cultural intruders. Many of these ideologies shaped the creation of new nations after the war. After the assassination, Austria declared war on Serbia, which led to Russia mobilizing their military in support of Serbia. Germany did not like that and declared war on Russia, and then shortly after on France. After Germany invaded neutral Belgium, Great Britain joins the fight, followed shortly by the US, leaving Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, known as the Central Powers, fighting against the Allied powers, who were comprised of Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, Romania, Japan, and the United States.
With so many countries fighting, it is unsurprising that World War I saw high death tolls made worse by trench warfare and the resulting stalemates. This led to higher civilian casualties and food shortages across Europe. World War I is an early example of total war, meaning a war won not just by the military, but the population is dragged in to support the military and the war effort. This means when men left to fight on the front lines, women filled the jobs left behind in manufacturing, production, and agriculture. The war acted as a catalyst for change, as women stepped outside of traditional roles for opportunity and necessity. One of the most notable shifts away from traditional roles came from food shortages, which led to protests and riots, led mostly by women. This was an obvious social change away from traditional gender roles. Women protested against these food shortages and unified politically across the US and Europe. This pamphlet from the US shows sugar rations in different countries. It is an attempt to downplay the severity of rations and therefore women's concerns on the home front, a common trend against women in the 1900s. Still, women taking action during World War I shows the continuation of earlier feminist movements.
So what changed because of World War I? Periods of dramatic change to society often occur after wars. World War I claimed 40 million military and civilian lives. This created a huge decrease in the workforce, as well as lasting psychological changes on those who did end up returning home. A number of long-standing empires fell, resulting in the creation of a number of new countries. The Russian, Austria-Hungarian, and Ottoman empires ended, while independent republics formed in Austria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Turkey, and Finland. Feminist action and suffrage movements also continued after the war, leading to many countries granting women the right to vote. Between World Wars I and II, from 1918 to 1944, over 14 countries saw socio-political advancement for women, including Australia, Ireland, Canada, Russia, Germany, the United States of America, and Poland. Maybe most importantly, World War I changed how modern wars are fought. Technological inventions like tanks, trench warfare, mustard gas, and bomber planes were all used against humanity for the first time, forever changing the way we think of war. At the 1925 Geneva Conference, the committee designed measures to avoid further atrocities like those of World War I by banning chemical and biological weapons in warfare. So remember, only you can prevent world wars. Don't assassinate archdukes.
We'll blow you into bits. Hey, Fritz, you're fighting Yankee wit. Before we go, you want to know it's time you called it quits. For you can't beat us.